Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone's doing fantastic this morning. So grateful for everyone on the call. I'm so excited to have Heather Mercer join us for our conversation today. She's a rockstar agent. She's only been in the business for 2 years and did 36 plus transactions last year. I'm so excited to hear her story and her journey and how she's thriving in this business. So Heather, please introduce yourself. Russ is actually unmuting you right now, so give it 1 second.
Can you hear me now?
There you go. Yes, we can.
Myself.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. Yeah, I joined Everest actually as a transaction coordinator for Austin Kale's team. I was a single mom, and I just moved here from Colorado after my divorce. I had $27 in my bank account. And I was actually working with the Centerville branch. Okay. We have training, as you know, with new agents at the Midville branch. And so I was going up there every Thursday to do training with Russ. And we were having pizza after one training. And I just happened to hear two agents that I didn't even know mention that Austin Kales needed a transaction coordinator. So I don't know what it was about. I'd never heard of Austin Kales. I didn't really know what a transaction coordinator was, but I walked out of the room. I walked up to Becky because she was at the first floor at the time and said, "Is Austin in his office?" And she said, "Let me check." And he was there, and I just walked up and sat down and interviewed for the position of transaction coordinator. It just felt right. Like, that it was just one of those moments in life that completely changed everything, and I felt it. So my first piece of advice when you were getting into real estate is to listen for those, because Austin Kales changed my life. I started as his TC, and I actually told him in the interview, I don't make phone calls. I told him, like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be a telemarketer. I don't want to worry about that. It's too much of a pain. But I'll be a great transaction coordinator because I was too scared to go on my own. I had 3 kids. I needed steady income. So
Absolutely.
Then, as I started watching all of these agents and helped, get their paychecks, which were much larger than mine, I thought, you know what, maybe I can do this. And so Austin started giving me dead leads that nobody else was really working. And over the next few months, I started getting deals and I started closing. And I just kind of came to a decision that I needed a bigger life. I needed to provide more. So I went to Austin and I said, "Give me a year. Put me on the team as an agent and I will be your top producer within a year." And he kind of looked at me for a sec. And he was like, "Okay, let's try it."
Like, wow, determination. That's awesome. Yes.
Yeah, it was a very long year. This is my second piece of advice. If people around you aren't telling you that you work too much, you're not working hard enough. Everyone around you should think, "Man, I never see Debbie. I never see Jeanette. I never see Evette," because they're always working. That's the best compliment I can get. I missed vacations. I missed a lot to build my career. It's worth every second. So if people around you aren't telling you you work too much, you're not working hard enough.
Well, Heather, I have a question on that. Like, when you started and you joined the team, how did you feel on transitioning from working with a steady income and going to full-time agent, or were you doing both?
So lucky for me, I actually kind of had a few deals in the works, and I didn't, I wasn't making a ton as a transaction coordinator. So those deals kind of did help me transition. I had like 2 or 3. And, I remarried within that first year that I was here. And, so we had his income. So I did have a little bit of income support. But I will tell you, it's really, really hard to hold a job and be a real estate agent. If you really want to succeed, you have to jump, You have to pray really hard, get your finances in order, and then let go of whatever position you have that's holding you back. That
Right.
makes
Well,
sense.
that's a great way to kind of explain your transition. It's your motivation, it's your purpose, it's your why, right?
Yeah.
To
The
want a better
why,
life. And that's mhm.
yeah, the why is the biggest thing. I would go to work every Saturday at the Midvale office. I was one of the only agents there, and I loved it because I could get a lot of uninterrupted calls done. Um, Missed a lot of summer activities. I worked on the 4th of July,
Yes,
but I will tell you, it was worth it. It was 1 year. It was 1 year
absolutely.
sacrifice.
Absolutely. Share with us a little bit about what's your why? What is so share with us what is your desire? What is your why? What is the purpose?
So when I joined Austin's team, I really fell in love with the other agents on the team. Austin, Kales, Evie Zdrzinski, Sterling Satterfield, Aaron Christensen. I really admired who they were, and I started to look up to them. And when I became an agent, it was a really driving force that I proved to Austin that I would keep my word. I told him I'd be top producer. That was a big task. It was my first full year, but it kept me going. And then the real why came when I had some clients that were building in Layton, and Aaron Christensen recommended a community of Lauder homes, and I went to the model home, and we would plan everything at the model home, and I fell in love with it because it looks like my husband. Like, it's very kind of masculine, and every time I'd come, he's like a carpenter, and every time we'd come, I'd be like, Esther needs to see this house. But we lived in a $250,000 house at the time, and I asked Lance Lauder or Lance Price from Lauder Homes, what the cost of the model home was going to be, and he said about $650,000. That's ridiculous.
Wow.
I can't afford that. And but there was something in me that's like, you can do this. And so I went home and I was like, honey, I have an idea. Quit your job, and I'm going to work like I've never worked before, and we're going to get this house. And I told him how much it was. It took 3 days of just sitting and listing pros and cons before I could get him on board, because I would have to raise $150,000 in cash above our bills in order to afford this house within 8 months. And I get emotional talking about it. I can't tell you what it stirred within me, because it was impossible. It was absolutely impossible. How could I afford a $650,000 house? But I did it. I worked really, really hard. Every morning I would meditate, and I would see myself walking into my house, and I would meditate until I cried. I would
That's
meditate
amazing.
until I could see it, until I saw my family living in the house, eating breakfast there, my dogs in the backyard, and I would do it until I was emotional, until my emotions, and that was my reality. And it happened.
That's fantastic. That's such an amazing goal to have, you know, your dreams and desires and vision. And the biggest thing is your support system, right?
Yeah.
That you had at home and around your team and everyone here at work. So share with us a little bit about that. Like, how did you go through those challenges of overcoming and then having that support? How did that help you?
So I actually didn't have a ton of support. My whole
Yeah.
family said no. My mother cried and said I was irresponsible with my money. Um, Eston, my husband, was the only one that really, outside of work, that saw that I could do this. Austin was really supportive. As I started moving forward and as deals started closing, he got really excited for me, and that motivated me a lot. It is so important to have agents that you can go to and ask
Absolutely.
questions. That I really put a lot of weight of that in my success. There were so many people that I could turn to. Ruby, you were one of them. Dave Parker, I would walk into his office and be like, explain this to me. I have a problem. I can't recommend enough how much I love being on the team.
That's amazing.
Because I love, you take a hit on your commission. Who cares? They're giving you leads. Like,
Yeah.
all of my success has come from Austin being so generous and helping
Absolutely.
us and teaching us. And I mean, I would
You
say
don't,
80% of my transactions were from Austin leads.
that's amazing. And you don't know this, but I actually went down and I spoke to the team a little bit, and they had amazing things to say about you. And they're like, yeah, we actually gave her bad leads and she somehow turned them into her clients and kept them in her database, and they became SOI for her. Isn't that amazing that you have that support system? I mean, they love you. They say you're enthusiastic, you're
Mhm.
positive, you have a great sense of humor, and you're always uplifting others to do the best. So I love that. I'd like to ask you, what do you do? Share with us about your routine, your schedule, and just kind of how do you protect your mindset?
So I have 4 kids. So between having a full-time job and being a full-time mom, I have to be really particular about my schedule. Um, I I don't have a lot of free time, and I really like it that way. That's my personality. If I'm not doing something, I get antsy. So like at night, when you're winding down and you're watching TV, grab your computer, get on the MLS, and just text your clients and your potential buyers houses. They love it. It's like one of the biggest ways I've gotten appointments, because they know you're thinking. You be like, hey, I saw this house. I was thinking of you. It just really suits your needs. Let me know if you want to go see it.
That's
Um,
amazing. So is this your SOI, or is this clients or just people that you know that you're sending these properties
Everybody I'm
to?
working with, anyone I can think of that I've talked to, I keep a list um, of all of my working people, all my SOI, all of my Austin leads, and I just keep a list, and I will go through the list and just send 20 clients a home each night, and out of those 20, I usually get 1 or 2 appointments.
That's
um,
fantastic.
50 calls a day. I don't My head doesn't hit the pillow unless I've got 50 calls a day. You call until your fingers bleed. You call until you know the script so well you're saying it in your sleep, and you get better and you get better and you get better. And it you call when you don't want to call, because those
Absolutely.
1 calls that you don't want to make, those are always the deals. The ones you think
Yeah,
are going to work out, they never do. And then the ones
right.
you've completely written off are the ones that close. It's really funny, the law of
It's
attraction.
amazing. So minimum you're doing 50 contacts a day.
A day.
So share with us a little bit about how do you fit that into your schedule? Can you share step by step and what you do from morning to the evening? Share with us your schedule and how
So
do you
I
fit in prospecting?
So I work Monday, Wednesday, Friday in the office. Tuesday, Thursday is kind of home, and I work when the kids are napping. Or so Tuesday, Thursday is my less productive day, but Monday, Wednesday, Friday, those are my big days. And then Saturday I go into the office if I don't have appointments. I'm into the office by 8 a.m. and I love it because hardly anybody's there. Because here's the thing, guys, when you get a lot of deals under contract, the first 2 hours of your day are just working what you've got, and you can't get to your phone calls yet. You've got to call all of the contracts. You've got to deal with inspections, repairs, negotiations, reports, addendums, the technical work. Even if you have a TC, there's so much that goes into it. And like last month, I had 14 deals under contract. It was so hard to get my calls done. So
That's
I would be into the
fantastic.
office by 8. 8 to 10 is when I'm dealing with my existings, things that are under contract already, setting appointments, things I'm not like reaching out. And then like 10 to 12 is prospecting. Um, it's hard to I'm social, and if Austin's in the office, we just start having you have to really discipline yourself. You have to make sure that your space is quiet. Like I am in a room with Ethan Harris right now in our office together, and we have to really stop talking because I'm social. um, I listen to really motivating music before I make my calls. um, like I said, I meditate before I get to work, and then
So
you just call.
share with us a little bit about how you start your mornings. I mean, having 14 transactions at one time, that's a good problem to have. So how do
Yes.
you start out your morning? How early do you get up? You're in the office by 8 o'clock, but what do you do as soon as you get up? How do you get that go-getter mentality, and how do you keep that mindset going?
Um, I don't know. I have a very different lifestyle. Okay, don't tell anybody, y'all. But I have 9 animals. Don't tell Layton City. And if one of you guys do, I'll end you. I've got 4 dogs and 5 cats and 4 kids. So we're up at 6 a.m., up and at 'em. It takes us about an hour to take care of all the animals, walk them, feed them. A lot of my motivation, though, is I've seen what hard work and dedication can do for you. So I'm trying to teach that to my kids. So when I wake up, I never act sluggish. I know this sounds funny, but it works. Do not get out of bed like this. Get out of bed like this. Like, get ready for the day. Jump up, walk up to your kids, be like, it's morning, it's time, let's go. You have to just build that. My kids, you know, they crawl out of bed, but they see mom and she's rearing to go at 6 a.m. That's going to teach them that. And it changes your entire day. If you're up and you're hungry and that's the first attitude you take, it stays the entire day.
That's great.
I have a very disciplined time schedule. Dogs, animal, reading. I'm LDS. We read scriptures every morning in prayer.
Good.
I meditate, jump in the shower, ready, dressed, kiss everybody goodbye, and I'm off to the office by about 7:30.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So let's continue from noon. So you're doing your prospecting in the afternoon usually?
You know, a lot of problem solving goes into existing contracts. There's a lot of social events. I mean, we have team meetings. Like yesterday I went to lunch with some investors and that was till 2. I have to leave the office about 4:30. I really wish I could stay longer, but just because I'm a mom, also my freedom for time isn't there.
Right.
If you have that freedom, oh, you have no idea the kind of power you have if you don't have to juggle both. And you could get I mean, if I didn't have kids, I'd be making 100 calls a day. Like, there's no excuse. If you don't have children, you should be making 100 calls a day. I don't want to hear it. Everybody's got a full life.
I love that. You don't want to limit on how much you can do. So you just keep
no
going.
limit.
That's amazing. That's such a great point. And I hope everyone's, that resonates with everyone is you drive your business. And, if you're motivated enough, there's no end to you. There's no limits. It doesn't have to be 30 contests. It could be 50, it could be 100 in order for you to hit your goal. I mean, 36 plus transactions last year. Share with us a little bit about your goals this year and what are you looking to achieve this year, and how do you what challenges have you faced and how are you overcoming those to hit your goals?
So I'm really competitive naturally, and so last year was a lot of fun because there was a lot of friendly competition on our team to see if we could get top producer. Aaron Christensen's nailed it for years and I just wanted to be because he's amazing. He's probably one of the greatest agents I know. And so it really drove me to keep going. My goal was 48. I had, I think 35, 36 that I closed, and then I had 4 more. So I hit 40 in my eyes because I had 5 under contract by the end of the year that just hadn't closed. So I was close, but this year I've realized there's a lot more joy and there's a lot more steadiness if you're competing against yourself. So my goal this year is just to beat my goal last year. And that's what I'm going to focus on, because very quickly in this industry, because we work with so many people and we work with so many greats, especially at Everest, you get discouraged because 35 deals is great, but then I look at some of these experts that are just have been doing it for years and you feel small. And so I learned very quickly, if you compare yourself, you're not going to get there. You're going to get discouraged. So my goal is just to beat my last year and to continue that kind of attitude. And it's much more, I don't know, there's a lot more happiness to it.
That's amazing. And guys, if you guys have any questions for Heather, please just go ahead and jot them into the chat box also. Another question for you is, so throughout your schedule, throughout your days and your drive that you have, is it discipline? Is it consistency? What is your main focus on a daily basis that gives you that success?
When I found my why, a why that's strong enough to move me to tears because it was impossible, that's what really changed my life. If I'm being honest, when I discovered something that would make me cry while I meditated, because I could imagine, I mean, it makes me emotional just thinking about how powerful because I didn't understand the why and how important it was until I found this. I envisioned my husband being so excited because he's always wanted a big garage, and his house had a 4-car garage. And I envisioned him working in there and being grateful. I envisioned my kids having their own rooms. I envisioned Austin being proud of me. I envisioned doing something impossible for myself, and it changed everything. It changed how I see myself. We all have mental blocks. We all tell
Of course.
ourselves a lot of negative things. And I've told myself
Mhm.
since I was little that I'm too emotional, that I can't work well in business. That's just been a
Wow.
thing I've always told myself. And for the first time in my life, I have come to realize that's just the story I'm saying, and I can change it. And I can't tell you the joy that comes from that. There's so much joy in working hard and finding that why, and then just being hungry every single day. You have to be starving. You have to be starving for
Absolutely.
this. It has to be the thing that's in the back of your mind while you are on vacation in Lake Powell. It has to be the thing that motivates you to get to Italy. It has to be that thing that just makes you so hungry you're ready to, I mean, when you wake up, the first thing you're thinking about is the clients you need to talk about. And it sounds all consuming, and it is in a way, but if you can do that for 2 years, then you've got a strong client base. What's that thing that Dave Ramsey always says? You have to live like no one else
Live
so
like
that you
no one else.
can live like no one else.
Absolutely. And that's such a great statement to say. You have to be hungry for it. To have your why drive your consistency, that's key. I love that you just made that statement. I what I want to know a little bit more. So um how do you balance that professional life and that personal life? And then what other advice would you give to someone to create that balance to go to the next level? Like, what would you say, what advice would you give a brand new agent that's getting into the business? I mean, you've only been in the business for about 2.5, 3 years, and being a top producer on your team and having 36 plus transactions in your second year, that's phenomenal. That's amazing. So what advice would you give to someone that's new in the business?
If it doesn't hurt, you're not doing it right. If you're not sacrificing, if you are not unhappy, if you are not in pain, you're not doing it right. It's just like exercising. It's consistency. It is
Okay.
continuously building higher. Like, you can't lift the same weights for a year and get
Right.
results. You have to start lifting heavier weights. It's about consistency. It's about sacrifice. Get on those calls. Get rejected. I read in Never Split the Difference, the best answer you can possibly get from a new prospect is no. And the reason is because that creates an opportunity for you to find out why they said no. It creates an
Right.
opportunity for you to find out what's wrong and create value by giving them solutions. And that's our job. Our job is to literally create opportunity from thin air. We call random
Absolutely.
strangers. And so you just have to work like a dog. Talk to every professional and strong agent you can. Be
So
in the office as much as you can.
absolutely. That's spot on. I love that. How much do you practice or you go through your skill sets? Like what got you over those hurdles and how much do you practice on a day? Like, I'd love for everyone to hear how much you actually practice so you can stay consistent and gain those skill sets.
If I'm being honest with you, I am a naturally social person. It does come naturally. I have that upper hand.
Good.
Um, I I very easily can converse with strangers. I take it to an emotional level very quickly because I'm a woman. That is, ladies, we do have a little bit of advantage. We can chitter chatter on the phone with other women and, oh, tell me about your kids, tell me about your dog, tell me about that. We can start talking about makeup, and that sounds ridiculous and shallow, but it does give us a little bit of an upper hand because
Yes.
we can make an emotional connection. And if you can make an emotional connection with the people you're talking to, they're going to trust you more. As far as practicing, a lot, but honestly, it's trial by fire. You have to be in that place where you are terrified. You have to call,
Right.
and and when they answer, you have to be a little shaky. And then by the 2000th call, you've done it so much, it doesn't scare you anymore. And then you make more calls. It's all about building just as many contacts as you can make. If you don't have a lot
Yeah.
of resources for
Right.
calls,
Right.
look into a team, because Austin gives us leads, and 90% of the people I call and reach out to are leads from my team lead. A lot of people have done it on their own, just amazing. It just suited me and my personality to be on a team because I'm social. and you have the resources of a team. I love my team. I don't want to embarrass Austin if he's watching, but where Austin Kales goes, I go.
That's amazing. Right. No, and I love that your strength is building rapport. Your strength is
Yeah.
moving forward and just doing it. So you just, honestly, if you just jump in the fire, you build those skill sets. I mean, you need to practice, but I think you do practice, but for you, because you build that rapport with people, it comes to you a little bit more naturally, and you incorporate your skill sets into those conversations.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, what's that phrase? If it scares you, you should be doing it.
Yeah.
If it scares you, do it, because that's
Yeah.
how you get better. Right now I'm taking a night course, learning more about contract law,
Good.
and tax information for, investment opportunities, things like that, because it scares me. I've always told myself I can't really, my strength is emotional, not the business side. And I've told myself that so long. And then I just realized, you know what, this scares me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do it until it doesn't scare me.
I love that. Your mindset, you are your biggest voice, and self-motivation and mindset is so important. So we're going to get wrapping up here pretty soon, but give a couple of more tips to everyone that's about you, or something that they can do to incorporate in their business. Just anything, any last advice that you can give them.
Be very generous. Be very generous with your income. Use the revenue that you get to bless other people's lives, because it comes back tenfold. I
Absolutely.
am a strong believer in karma. I'm a strong believer in positive energy that you create around yourself. I've been blessed. When I first started, I was driving a car that barely ran, and
Right.
now I have a Benz.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for that. And so with that wealth comes a responsibility
Yes.
to be generous to others who just are not that fortunate, because we see it all the time. We see
Absolutely.
buyers that are barely scraping by. There's opportunities everywhere to give, and it is the most rewarding part about having a good income.
I love that. I love that. That's great. Share with us a little bit about, you said your surroundings and your team and everyone, so that drives you. Share with us, what do you love about Everest? What do you love
Oh my
about
gosh.
Everest?
I love Everest. I've worked for four different brokerages, two in Colorado, and one here that was not great. I won't name names, but when I was in Colorado, I worked for about 6 months. I didn't do much real estate out there, but Everest is by far the best. I know it sounds like someone paid me to brag about Everest, but I love the 24/7 access to all of you powerhouses. Russ, Ruby, I can talk to Sam Bell, the attorney, if I have legal questions. Rob, Jeremy Laguerre is always there. Lindsay Wardle, George Morris, of course. I love how much all of you care about the agents, the free training, the morning ascent, the activities, the family activities. I like the design. I like that I have the name Century 21 behind me. Everyone knows Century 21.
Yeah.
I went through, when I transferred to Century 21, I was going through a legal issue from the previous brokerage. She sued me, claiming that I was breaking my contract. Yeah, it was bad. She came after me. She didn't want me to leave, but she wasn't honest, and I didn't want to work with her. Century 21 backed me. They helped me with a lawyer. They helped protect me until she openly, admitted she was lying and left me alone. But Century 21 has always had my back.
That's great. Of course.
I love Century 21.
Well, we love you too. And we always hear good things about you, and just you striving in your business, being in the second year. You're a rock star. Thank you for being with us today and sharing your story and giving any advice that everyone has. Anyone, George always says, there's nothing in the business you cannot learn, and there's nothing in this business you cannot do. And so honestly, guys, reach out to your teammates, create that environment so you can learn and get better and better. Thank you so much, Heather, for being here today.
Thank you,
We
Ruby.
really appreciate that. Yes, it's amazing. Let's go ahead and finish up with our affirmations, and you guys make it a fantastic day and have a great weekend. And we'll